After getting flattened by a truck, Rio reincarnates into a magical world. He plans to chill out and live a peaceful life. The universe disagrees. A teen wakes up inside a cabin deep in a forest. He steps out of his room, sees a knife and 2 books on the table and no breakfast, not even a scrambled egg with ketchup. He goes outside to check out the scenery. It's serene and beautiful. He lifts his hand and surprise he summons a water orb. It immediately pops like a soap bubble. Before landing here, he had a surreal moment in what he thought was heaven. But nope, some baby-faced angel shows up to clarify this isn't heaven, just a cosmic waiting room. The angel tells him his name is Rio Mihara, and yeah, he got hit by a truck. Rio asks if the guy is God. The angel's like, not even close, so Rio names him Mikey. Mikey explains reincarnation rules. No mission, no quest, he can do whatever he wants, go feral, knit sweaters, become a waterbender, totally up to him. Rio chooses peace and solitude. Mikey gets it. After becoming roadkill, the last thing you want is to end up in downtown chaos. So Mikey sends him to a chill magical world called Phi, where 1 in 5 people can use magic. Rio will have water powers. Mikey drops him off in a forest cabin, gives him a 2-month food supply and somehow installs a giant fridge. Man's got range. There's also a monster-proof barrier around the cabin. Vibes secured. Rio flips through the books and finds a monster encyclopedia written in a weird language. He doesn't know it, but for plot reasons he can read it anyway. With the setup complete, he finally experiments with his powers. Making water balls is easy. He learns he doesn't need to speak to cast magic, just imagine. But he still says it out loud, because it sounds cooler. Then he tries to take a bath. The problem? Cold water only. He tries making fire the old school way. Rubbing sticks together. Doesn't work. Exhausted and still stinky, he has an idea. He figures out how to create ice by visualizing water molecules and freezing them. Then he shapes the ice into a magnifying lens to focus sunlight and start a fire. Finally, a warm bath. Progress! While soaking, he remembers he's only got 2 months of food. After that, he'll need to venture outside and all he has is a knife. Not ideal. He starts practicing attack magic, water balls first. Great if your enemy is a matchstick. He tries to launch one with force. All he gets is a wimpy splash. Then he remembers Mikey's advice. Magic is all about visualization. He trains until his splash turns into a blast. Next, he learns to heat water, handy for baths. Then he tries creating ice knives. Making the ice is easy. Throwing it with power, needs work. Throwing by hand is fine but won't cut it in combat. He trains until he's basically dead tired. To make things worse, he forgot to light the fireplace. No sunlight left, no heat, big set. He keeps practicing until he can form ice quickly but still can't launch it well. Even so, he feels ready to explore the forests. Near a river he finds quartz, perfect for sparking fire. Now he just needs some good herbs and he'll call it a win. But life says, not so fast. A giant boar shows up and it's not friendly. The beast charges. Rio barely dodges in time. It charges again. Rio freezes the ground and summons ice spikes as a shield. Momentum does the rest. The boar crashes. Nature's physics wins again. Now Rio returns home with more than just quartz. He's got boar meat, a fresh hide perfect for a winter cloak, a set of horns to spice up his cabin decor, and a few bones to add flavor to his next soup. Gourmet life unlocked. Turns out the boar was a lesser boar, a bottom tier monster. Basically the tutorial boss, and he almost got clapped. Rio consults his monster encyclopedia and flips to the special mentions section. First up, dragons. The book says they can destroy entire cities by accident. So if he ever sees one, the move is simple. Run for his reincarnated life, or else he'll get isekai'd again. The catch? Escaping a dragon is pretty much a miracle. So if he locks eyes with one, he might as well play his own funeral music. Second mention, the devil in. No joke, that's what the book calls it. They're angels gone rogue, origin unknown, and the best you can do is pray you never meet one. Real comforting stuff. Anyway, next day he changes into something more fitting of a forest warrior. Iso clothes? Trash. Now he rocks a premium boar loincloth, fashion and function. He heads out to pick berries when suddenly ambushed from above. A massive hawk dives at him, slicing the air with invisible blades. Trees get chopped like salad. Rio checks the book. Yep, it's a killer hawk using a spell called Air Slash. Rio knows this fight is out of his league. No more hiding. It's brawl time. He hurls water balls at it like pew pew pew. But the hawk dodges with anime precision. Za 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 and za za za. The hawk goes full dive bomb. Rio summons an ice wall just in time. Bird crashes. He doesn't finish it off, but the hawk flies away with a swollen eye. Lesson learned? Don't mess with the kid in a loincloth. Catching his breath, Rio stares at the sky and thinks, Yo Mikey, you said I get a chill life. Could have at least spawned a 7-Eleven nearby. Since he ran around to escape the bird, he's now lost. Wanders the forest until he stumbles on a glowing lake. In the center stands a headless rider and his ghostly horse. Time has passed. Rio's leveled up hard. He can shoot ice shards, fish like a pro, and has brawled with all kinds of monsters. He's upgraded water blast and now slices through rocks like a boss. Turns out the secret is crafting dense ice granules and launching them at speed. He's changed so much, even his skin tone deepened. The forest does things to a man. That night, Rio returns to the lake wielding an ice sword. He calls the headless rider Dullahan, since it's not even listed in the encyclopedia. Could be a rare entity or something entirely unknown. They clash. Rio gives it everything. Dullahan barely moves but blocks every blow. Then it smashes Rio's sword and lands a hit near his ribs. Luckily, Ryo covers up with an ice shield just in time. He collapses, defeated but satisfied. He's not strong enough yet, but hey, nightly sparring with a spooky legend sounds like solid entertainment when you're stuck in a forest. Dullahan may not talk much, but he gets his point across. He reforges Ryo's sword, extends it with ice and hands it back like, "Here kid, show me what you've got." Next day, on his casual nature stroll, Ryo gets attacked by another bird, but this one's way bigger, meaner, and built like it paid for premium evolution. It's got a familiar scar on its eye. Ryo squints and wonders, wait, is this the same bird? Just digivolved? Clearly the bird holds a grudge. It opens with an air spell, slicing the air like butter. Ryo throws up his ice shield, but the gust tears through his defenses like they're made of wet napkins. He runs, setting up 10 layered barriers. They barely slow the attack down. He summons ice spears, but the bird dodges like it's in a dodgeball anime. It swoops in again. Ryo sets up more defenses, but with a single whistle, the hawk nullifies them. Just deletes his entire vibe. That's when Ryo realizes this ain't just another monster. This is evolution in boss form. And then, boom, the hawk drops a lightning impact spell. Ryo dodges by a pixel. The bird goes for a claw strike. Ryo draws his enchanted sword, the one gifted by Headless Bro, and blocks it like a pro. The blade even slices through incoming spells. Big win. The hawk's had enough. It dive bombs at full speed, talons primed for carnage. But Ryo's ready. He grips his sword and lands a clean strike to the neck. The bird crashes, bruised and beaten. Ryo approaches and kneels down. He gets it. The bird's pissed about the eye incident, but he tells it straight. It wasn't personal. In fact, Ryo's grateful. That vendetta pushed him to level up. The anticipation of this rematch fueled his grind. He pulls out his sword, not about to leave that behind. With respect, Ryo comforts the bird. "You're getting a one-way ticket to a fresh isekai. Mikey's got you." Then he delivers a clean blow. No suffering. And just as the feathers settle, the sky darkens. A freaking dragon descends. Remember that monster book? Yeah, this thing is city eraser tier. Normally people run, but Ryo? He stands tall. He's the protagonist. Rules don't apply. The dragon lands and greets Ryo telepathically. It's been a while since it used that power. It still works like a charm. It asks if Ryo saw a certain hawk, one that evolved and had a gnarly eye injury. Ryo, honest to a fault, replies, "Yeah, I took it down, sorry." The dragon? Impressed. No rage, no revenge, just vibes. It congratulates Ryo for the victory. It notices the sword Ryo's carrying. Ryo presents it with pride. The dragon recognizes it instantly. That blade belonged to the king of the fairies. Not something you hand out like candy. Clearly, Ryo's got serious street cred. They spend the whole day chatting like old friends. Before leaving, the dragon introduces itself, Lewin. They agree to meet again. Meanwhile, in the Celestial Admin office, Mikey reviews Ryo's profile and spots something weird. Hidden powers, something he hadn't seen since Ryo's original incarnation. It turns out our water-wielding hero holds the legendary cheat code, Eternal Youth. Ryo heads to the ocean, craving seafood, but instead of catching fish, he finds a full-blown shipwreck. Bodies lie scattered along the shore. Only one guy still breathing. Turns out their ship got wrecked by the Kraken, and this red-haired dude's the sole survivor. He wakes up inside Ryo's cabin, totally lost. Wanders around, but it's empty. He steps outside and sees Ryo's upgrades, a tidy garden and fruit trees. Just when he's wondering who saved him, Ryo shows up to welcome him like it's no big deal. Redhead-kun quickly realizes his savior is basically Jungle Book Mowgli in anime form. Wild child confirmed. The guy introduces himself as Abel and thanks Ryo for the rescue. Ryo shrugs it off, says he didn't really save him, just dragged him home. Also, yeah, he's the only survivor. Abel's cool with it, says the crew were smugglers anyway, no one's gonna miss them. His stomach growls. Ryo offers some grub. They sit down to eat. Abel stares at Ryo's outfit, just a boar loincloth, and asks if he's got any spare clothes. Ryo says nope. No fabric, no thread, no other outfit options. Abel suggests buying some, then realizes this dude's half naked, probably broke and not even rocking underwear. Ryo explains the cabin's in the middle of nowhere. No towns, no neighbors. Shopping isn't exactly an option. Abel puts it together. Ryo lives off the land, sees his knife and asks if that's what he uses to hunt. Ryo says he mostly uses it for cleaning meat. His real weapon? Water magic. Abel's jaw drops. In big cities, only half the population can use magic. He can't. Ryo's confused Mikey told him only 20% could. Somebody's lying, or world building is flexible. After the meal, Abel asks to visit the wreck site. He wants to check something. On the way, he asks if Ryo needs a wand to cast spells. Ryo responds, "If there's one thing I've got, it's wand." Abel assumes he's too poor to afford one and offers to protect him if things go south. He insists he's indebted for the rescue. At the shipwreck, the bodies are gone, probably pulled away by the tide. Abel searches the wreckage but doesn't find what he's looking for. He says his next move is reuniting with his crew in Loon, a town far to the north. He asks Ryo to come with him as a guide. Ryo agrees but needs a moment to pack. Presumably just his loincloth and good vibes. That night, Ryo tells Abel he needs to say goodbye to someone before their journey. Abel finds it weird. Didn't Ryo say no one lived around here? And even weirder, he's heading out in the dark. Ryo explains it's someone who's only around at night. He's just letting them know he'll be gone for a while. Abel wonders if he's talking about a grave. Maybe Ryo was never truly alone out here. But of course, plot twist incoming. Ryo isn't visiting a tomb, he's off to challenge the Headless Rider, who we now know is the king of the fairies. Ryo tells him he's leaving tomorrow and thanks him for all the late night battles. Those fights taught him how to survive. This is their final duel for now, and Ryo's going all out. He doesn't just want to say goodbye, he wants a win. They clash, and Ryo loses. As the rider returns to the lake, he casts a quiet little spell, no words, just fairy swag. A magical orb rises from the water and transforms into a tailored battle outfit for Ryo. Yes, tailored, no more boar loincloth. We're leveling up in style. Next morning, Ryo starts his journey rocking that fresh new outfit. Before leaving, he takes one last look at his cabin. It might be a while before he sees it again. On the road, a wild boar appears. Abel steps up and asks Ryo to sit this one out. He dashes in and performs a special thrust that fires a light beam from his sword and pierces the boar straight through. Ryo's like, oh wait, what happened to not knowing magic? Abel clarifies, this isn't magic, it's a combat technique. Non-magic folks use it all the time. Ryo being a mage wouldn't be familiar. Makes sense. Their journey continues until they spot two lizard men chilling in a pond. These dudes look dangerous, so they take the long route to avoid them. But Ryo senses more lurking nearby. They're being followed, a lot of them, and they aren't here for a tea party. Ryo tells Abel he'll take care of it with his magic. Abel's about to argue when 4 lizard men leap out. Ryo summons ice spears and impales all 4 in a single move. Abel's stunned not just by the spell but that Ryo cast 4 at once. His wind mage buddies can only do 1 at a time. Ryo shrugs. Maybe water magic and wind magic just work differently. Before moving on, Ryo whips up 2 ice cups and fills them with water. Hydration is key, folks. Drink your water. Later they hit a crossroads and have no clue which way to go, so they flip a coin. It's Ryo's first time seeing currency from this world. Abel explains it's a bronze coin from the kingdom of Knightly. Ryo loves the name Knightly. Sounds heroic. Fancy. Abel adds that central provinces have their own coins too, though they all share the same names. Ryo asks if Knightly is part of those central regions. Abel says yes, it's one of the 3 major nations. The others are the Handaloo Federation and the Debuhi Empire. Ryo is not a fan of Debuhi. It sounds cursed. He jokes that calling yourself Debuhite makes it sound like you worship something demonic. They reach a quiet plain, but the rocks start to twitch. Abel slices one, but more stones begin circling them. He says they've wandered into a stone golem nest. And these aren't cartoon golems with arms and legs. These are floating rock clumps. Big dumb energy. Abel attacks. Pierces one, but it regenerates like it's nothing. Ryo steps up and gives it a shot. He summons a massive ice block and slams it down on 2 golems. Results, instant shutdown. Abel's like, chill dude, but since it worked, they go full ice bombardment. 1 golem leaves behind a shiny chunk. Embedded inside is a sizable magic stone proof it's defeated powerful foes. Ryo wants to collect it as a victory prize, and maybe loot the rest too, but removing giant icebergs. Easier said than done. Then they stumble across a gigantic hippocroc hybrid napping in a valley. Ryo suggests Abel challenge it to a duel just for laughs. Abel declines. He's not stupid. Soon a flock of flying monsters shows up and starts blasting wind spells, but the hippo roars once and poof, magic fizzles out. The monsters drop like scared pigeons. That night they camp out. Abel says he's never seen abilities like that before. Only dungeon traps pull off moves like that. Ryo perks up at the word dungeon. Turns out their destination has one. Ryo jokes about being left out of critical info. Abel didn't know Ryo cared, but tells him there are also dwarves, pretty standard fantasy fare, and elves. Well, just 1 elf. The rest stay deep in the forest. Ryo says elves don't interest him. They turn some boar hides into cloaks because it's about to get brutally cold. Ice mountains ahead. Soon they'll reach human territory. Abel's confused how Ryo knows all this. Secretly, the dragon told him mountains mark the southern edge of the continent. Ryo was living in the absolute bottom corner of the map. Of course, Ryo doesn't mention the dragon. Abel wouldn't believe him. At the foot of the mountain, they encounter a griffin. Not the kind you name your Wi-Fi after. A real one. Abel freezes, thinks fast, tosses some meat. The griffin snatches it midair and flies off, probably to eat it on its medieval patio. They press forward, but they're shook. Griffins and behemoths like that hippocroc, top tier danger. Definitely not casual encounters. Ryo says it might not be that bad. Maybe people who fought them just didn't give it enough effort. Abel believes the mountains act as a shield, keeping the big bads away from civilization. Then Ryo realizes the flying beasts that attacked the behemoth called wyverns were coming from the north, probably from the mountain. And yep, there's their nest. Ryo wants to fight. Abel warns him it usually takes 20 adventurers to beat them. And even then, not everyone walks away whole. Ryo suggests grounding them. No flight, no problem. Abel agrees if they're stuck on the ground, he can sword them to oblivion. And so the plan begins. Ryo impales wyverns with ice stakes to pin them down. Abel finishes them off with blade fury. After a grueling battle and a long journey filled with monster carnage, they finally cross the mountain.